So, it's time to have a look at the Grammostola Pulchra, also known as the Brazilian black. So like I said before, we're going to have an in-depth look of the Grammostola Pulchra, also known as the Brazilian black. I'm not going to waste any time explaining this, so let's just jump right into the footage and the care requirements for this tarantula and why I think it is a brilliant beginner species. The Brazilian black, or the Grammostola Pulchra tarantula, is a large New World terrestrial species from Brazil. The maximum recorded length is 7 inches for a female. I believe the males will get to about 5 inches. The Brazilian black is often referred to as one of the best beginner tarantulas and can often be referred to as the Labrador of the tarantula world due to their docile nature, inquisitive behaviour, you could almost call it, and their general size being, an impressive large black tarantula that people do like to show off. I have found that my Brazilian black, both male and female, tend not to move very much. The male does tend to stroll around the enclosure. I'm not sure if this is because it is a male or female or just because of the individual spider, because it has not yet matured out. Due to being a terrestrial New World species within the Grammostola genus, these tarantulas do live for a very long time, with females expected to live up to 30 years of age. They do get quite large, like I said, up to a maximum of 7 inches. I believe the average is around 5 to 6 inches. Males obviously always slightly smaller. They do possess the urticating hairs, which is a defence that majority of the New World species do carry, meaning they can flick these hairs off of their abdomen up into the air to try and disorientate and incapacitate threats. Mine have yet to kick hairs, but what I have found is at the front end of the tarantula they have these humongous fangs. Now, I'm not trying to put you off, but my tarantula, my Brazilian black female, isn't the smartest of hunters and has often in times gone for something other than the prey item. So I would not be sticking my hand into this enclosure. I would recommend not handling this tarantula, although they all do depend on species to species, the individual spider that you get, whether you want to handle them. This is something that you will have to determine yourself when dealing with these spiders. Personally, if I had to handle one of my tarantulas, I wouldn't handle either of my Grammostola Pulchras. But I tend not to handle my tarantulas anyway because I don't gain anything from it. The two specimens that you see here are both subadult, on the borderline adult size. So I do believe the female will get slightly larger than this. The male will probably have one more molt until he matures. I am currently keeping them in 2 Exoterra Faunarium large. These are the large flat ones. So there is a lot more horizontal space than vertical space. It is quite a heavy-bodied tarantula, so you definitely do not want the tarantula to be able to fall more than 1.5 times its body length. So always be wary when you're housing your tarantulas. These Exoterra Faunariums are absolutely ideal for these tarantulas because it's not a tarantula that needs to be kept in humid conditions. I do keep one side of the enclosure slightly moist with a water dish that I overfill probably once a week. But nothing too drastic because I do not want fungus to sprout up in this enclosure. There's plenty of cross ventilation so the air in there does not become stagnant. When the female does get larger, I am definitely considering upgrading her into a really useful box. 5 inches longer than what I see at the moment, so again, more floor space, maybe a bit deeper for some deeper substrate because the female, as you can see, has burrowed. Now, for a juvenile / spiderling, I would keep these in any, spiderlings I would keep them in any kind of small container that is flat and you can get a little bit of substrate in. I believe these will burrow as spiderlings and juveniles. So when it comes to housing a juvenile, there are many options out there. Again, just look for food storage containers that you can be converted into tarantula enclosures. I've done videos on these in the past for juvenile enclosures. And always be sure to keep one side of the sling / juvenile enclosure moist because I do believe the smaller ones do require more humidity or moisture within the substrate for them to thrive. When it comes to feeding this tarantula, I found little and more often is better than large single meals. This is due to the fact that if you pump large dubia roaches into these tarantulas, they will fatten up quite quickly and then will not eat for maybe months to even a year. They have some of the longest pre-molt periods recorded by other tarantula keepers. My female has not eaten for the past 3 months and she is still quite a decent size. I've been expecting her to molt any day for the past 3 months. I mean, this could go on for another 7 months really. So if you don't want a tarantula that is going to ignore food and be put off by a tarantula that is not feeding, then go small and often. So maybe instead of a large dubia roach every week, try and switch it up to like a medium dubia roach every 2 weeks, or even 3 to 4 large crickets at a time. I did do this to begin with, and the male really showed for it because after he molted, he looked like he could molt straight again. So I do enjoy feeding tarantulas. I have 30 tarantulas, so feeding is never a dull moment for me. There's always going to be a tarantula that eats, but I do enjoy my New World terrestrials, and I would like to have more to do with my Grammostola Pulchras because at the end of the day they are beautiful spiders. And so yeah, I'm just going to be slow and steady with the feeding from now on. I'm not going to be powering dubia roaches in there every week. I'll maybe give a dubia roach once a month, and then like crickets in between or small locusts. But yeah, nothing too major. And at the end of the day, I don't really have much more to say about this tarantula. Being a New World terrestrial species that is one of the easiest in the hobby to care for, it is just a perfect beginner species. It really is a perfect beginner species. So if you are looking to get a tarantula and you do come across a Grammostola Pulchra for a decent price, I believe I paid £180 for these pair at the time. Obviously the female would probably make up about £120 worth of that, and the male would make up the other half. So if you can come across a Grammostola Pulchra adult female for £100, I believe that is a good deal, as long as it is confirmed female from a reputable dealer. I know the Spider Shop UK often has these in stock, and Spiders World EU, if you're from the UK or European countries, they often have them in stock. And in the near future, I may have some spiderlings available for sale because I would like to breed these. Fantastic tarantula for the novice, for someone looking to expand their collection. Always going to be a jewel in your collection. You might want to get a nice glass enclosure to display this tarantula because mine is often out. If you enjoyed that video, please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave any comments down below. I will be happy to answer any other questions you have on the Brazilian Black. I've been keeping them for about 6 months now. I'm not an expert, I will put that out there, but it's a pretty basic tarantula compared to some of the others I keep. So yeah, let me know down below if you would like any more questions answering. If I don't know the answers, I'll be sure to point you somewhere that does. And yeah, thank you again for watching, and as always, I'll see you again next week. Thank you, goodbye.